The Royals are home at Kauffman Stadium for a pit stop and another interleague series. The Houston Astros are in town for 3 before the Royals hit the road again. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Paul Splittorff. I'm Ryan Lefevre, and the Royals have had their troubles with the American League over the past 6 years, but for whatever reason, they've had very little trouble with the National League. And the Royals are home after winning a series against a first-place team.
And it was a wild weekend, but the Royals now 500 in interleague play here so far in 2010. Under 500 a year ago, but as you mentioned, the last 5 or 6 years have done pretty well against the opposing league. For some reason, they match up a little bit better. It's probably because the offense is not as powerful as some of the American League teams. So you look at the Royals, they've had some winning years, but in those times, some of the other American League teams have gone 12-2. So while the Royals have done well, they've still fallen back.
Those are a lot of numbers, and if you look at what Felipe Paulino has done for the Houston Astros, there are a lot of numbers, but you don't want to pay attention to his win-loss.
Yeah, the 1-7 is certainly deceiving. He was the number 5 guy at the beginning of the year, but now they've got some people hurt, and he's not pitching like a number 5. He's like an ace. He's given up 2 runs or less in each of his last 5 starts. Big-time fastball, hard slider. He'll also change speeds. He goes late in games.
And the Royals have never faced him before. The Astros have never faced Kyle Davies, who's had his troubles in his last 3 starts, but the Houston Astros might be exactly what he needs. And we'll talk more about that when we come back. Baseball is brought to you tonight by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning. Kyle Davies makes the start for the Royals tonight. Struggled his last time out. That was against a first-place team, the Minnesota Twins, where he walked 5. Tonight, he goes up against a team that struggled in the National League.
And the walks have always been a problem for him when he has gotten in trouble, but has not had problems against these 4 ball clubs earlier this year. Hope for him to keep the ball in the ballpark tonight, keep the score down, and go late into the game.
going up against an offense that has really struggled so far this year. Here's the Kia report for him tonight.
You know, the 3.7 walks are really down a little bit from his career numbers, but they have been up his last 3 times out. Fastball command, always the big item with him. You keep the ball in the ballpark against Lee and Pence, they get over 50% of the Houston home runs.
And now M&I Bank will show us the Astros batting order. They are last in the National League, hitting just .236. Lance Berkman is off to a slow start. Carlos Lee off to a slow start. We haven't seen Tommy Manzella yet, the number 9 hitter and rookie. He has a 6-game hitting streak. However, even though Carlos Lee is hitting .226, he has 11 home runs in his career against the Royals. And so far this year, his best month has been this month. It's the Royals and the Astros, and the first pitch is next. Corner cable, where HD is free with digital cable. And tonight is Sprint night at Kauffman Stadium, so at least for tonight, the team color is yellow. Fans getting free t-shirts tonight, courtesy of Sprint, as the Royals begin a very brief 3-game homestand before heading out to Atlanta and Washington. This is Brad Mills, his first year as Astros manager. He has certainly paid his dues. 10 years as a major league coach, 11 years as a minor league manager, most recently the bench coach for Terry Francona in Boston. And his team got off to a very slow start. They were 0-8 and then 1-9. Here are some of their team leaders. Jeff Keppinger played briefly for the Royals. He leads the team in batting average for a team that hits .236. Carlos Lee, who has played much better in June than the first 2 months, leads the teams in RBI. Brandon Lyon, who competed for the closer spot, is now the setup man with 5 wins. And Roy Oswalt, who knows how long he'll be with the Astros, he has 8 losses.
Royals have to be concerned. He is scheduled to go here tomorrow night, but tonight is Kyle Davidson in for Kansas City, 13th starting appearance of the year. No complete games, looking for his 5th win of the campaign.
And it seems strange. Kyle pitching 52 games with the Atlanta Braves before being traded to the Royals. He never faced the Houston Astros. There are several hitters in the lineup that have faced him with another team. 1 ball, 1 strike to Michael Bourne.
Kyle's last time out was Wednesday at Minnesota. Went 6 2/3 innings. Had kind of a tough ball game. 5 walks in that game. Less than 60% of his pitches were in the strike zone, so that's something he wants to turn around here tonight. Bobby McClure continues to work with him on a couple of different grips. It always comes down to fastball command for him.
And it always seems to come down to walks too. Split walks down, he pitches good. Walks up, it can be a struggle.
You know, and the fastball really needs to be down in the strike zone more than up in the zone, although he does get a little skip when he goes upstairs. People aren't looking for it. Really need to come out strong in this ballgame. Bourne is the guy that makes them go. A catalyst. His on-base percentage pretty good again this year, about 350. And he is a speed guy, so shut him down early.
Got him to chase a pitch up. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes. Last year, the Royals went to Houston, and they took 2 out of 3. And Michael Bourne was very quiet in that series. He was just 1 out of 13. He didn't score 1 run and didn't have a single stolen base. And he did not make contact with that pitch, so Jason Kendall has to run it down. And a leadoff walk to Michael Bourne. 82 degrees. It has rained off and on today, but right now, beautiful blue sky overhead. Game started at 7:10. Time and temp brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCA. So Michael Bourne at first base. He leads the National League in stolen bases. And former Royal Jeff Keppinger at the plate. Keppinger back in 2006, played in 22 games for the Royals and moved on to the Reds for 2 years. And now in his 2nd year with the Astros. Described as a prototypical number 2 hitter.
That means he'll take some pitches, give an opportunity. The runner on first to go ahead and swipe one if he feels the opportunity is there. 21 steals this year for Bourne. He's been caught just a half a dozen times. Not many hitting streaks in this lineup here tonight coming in for Houston. Keppinger was just 3 for his last 25, so you have a struggling team. Get in the strike zone, force them to make something happen with the bat.
And he was another Astros hitter that did next to nothing against the Royals last year. He was just 1 for 10, and he didn't score a run. So the top 2 hitters in the Astros lineup against the Royals last year were 2 out of 23 without a single run scored. That's a good place to start.
Take a look at their club right now. They do have a couple guys in the middle that have been driving in runs, but guys have been swinging the bat the best are the number 8 and 9 hitters.
Broke his bat. Royals get an out at second base. Aviles had a little difficulty getting it out of his glove, but plenty of time for a double play and 2 down.
Good fastball in on the knuckles of the right-handed hitter. As you mentioned, Ryan, just shattered the bat, so that ball is not hit hard. Get the ball to the middle infield before that base runner can get in at the feet. And while Aviles struggled a little bit, able to make a clean play because the base runner was well off the bag. Alberto Caspo might be one of the really good stories so far this year, the way he has handled defensively at third base. Remember the 17 errors he had last year at second base? And he said, oh man, this might be a big-time problem when Alex Gordon went down with the injury again in camp. In fact, Caspo had some defensive problems in spring training, but not so here in the season.
Don't even think about him at third base anymore.
How about some of the backhanded picks that he has made?
Well, Split, you said there aren't many streaks in the Astros lineup, and I'm assuming you're talking about positive streaks because there is Lance Berkman, 0 for his last 14. 2 balls, 1 strike from Kyle Davies. And it seems odd to see him this late into the season, batting .237.
These guys just left New York Yankees. He was given a day off Sunday. Hope he could get some things worked out. He didn't hit it hard there.
Good start for Davies. Faces only 3. Alberto Callaspo back in the lineup. He got Sunday off. Wilson Betemit filled in for him. Had a couple of doubles. Callaspo has struggled a bit over his past 18 games, so refreshed after a day off Sunday and then the off day yesterday. Mike Aviles back at second base. Those are the changes from the game on Sunday. Strike one on Scott Pasednik. Just 5 out of 26 on the trip. Batting at .282. And I'm sure even today, Astros fans cringe when they see Scott Pasednik. Back in the 2005 World Series, you might remember his walk-off home run in Game 2 against Brad Lidge in a tie game with 1 out, nobody on in Chicago. Bottom of the 9th inning. And the White Sox went on to win the World Series.
That was back in the good days for the Houston Astros. They were perennial contenders in the National League Central through 2006. The last 3 years have been a different story.
Three balls, 2 strikes.
That was that right center field home run that he hit in the south side, wasn't it?
Didn't hit a home run all regular season. He hits one against the Angels in the first round, and then he hits a walk-off home run in the World Series. Gonna be a tough play for Manzella, and no play. So an infield single for Pasednik, and a good start for the Royals. Royals facing 26-year-old Felipe Paulino. Here's the Kia report.
Conventional pitcher in this fastball, slider, and a straight changeup. The breaking ball will range anywhere from 88 to 78. It's still a slider, but he grips it a little bit differently. Does a great job of holding base runners, and they have a strong throwing catcher behind the plate tonight, so stealing a base will be a problem. And he has won this on the road so far this year in 5 starts, but he has pitched well. Like Kyle Davies, his last time out was Wednesday. That was at Colorado. He pitched 8 innings in that ball game, gave up just 2 runs.
Outside Jason Kendall. And if you've been following the Royals this year, I would imagine that you would think it was impossible that anyone had worse run support than Zach Greinke this season. Well, Felipe Paulino is one of them. He and Kevin Millwood of the Orioles are the only 2 pitchers in baseball that have gotten worse run support than Zach. 1 ball, 1 strike to Kendall.
Paulino has really been a savior for their pitching staff. They're starting rotation is very thin. They have a guy on the disabled list, and Bud Norris now on a rehab assignment. But some of their top end guys haven't gone as deep in the ball games as Paulino has.
Just missing to Kendall, and the count is 2-1.
And then 97 miles an hour is not a fluke. We'll see a steady 96 to 99 all night long out of this guy.
There's the hard breaking ball, and it's 3-1.
And that's a pitch that the Royals will have to stay off of here tonight. He uses it a lot like Zach does. Try to get ahead with the fastball. Use that slider as a strikeout pitch, or at least a ground ball pitch.
Kendall with a tough trip. He was just 1 out of 25 through Minnesota and Cincinnati. And during the trip ended an 0 for 21. Working the count here, 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Kind of the ups and downs of an everyday player, Ryan. Remember the last homestand? He finished up with 3 consecutive multiple hit games.
And that's why Ned Yost doesn't make a big deal out of it. The typical ebbs and flows of a major league season. Posednik runs, and Kendall pokes it out into right center field. That ball carried a little bit on Michael Bourne. He saw that Kendall made contact with one hand, and he came charging in, and it almost sailed over his head. Suzuki will show us how the Astros line up defensively. Carlos Lee in left field. Michael Bourne won his first Gold Glove last year. Hunter Pence in right. Pedro Feliz, very good defensive third baseman, with Tommy Manzella on the left side. Jeff Keppinger and Lance Berkman over on the right side. And Humberto Quintero behind the plate. So Posednik at first, 1 out. And now David DeJesus, who continues to roll along. David now, over his last 24 games, is hitting .398, so he is well over 300. Right before David Jr. was born, David was struggling to stay in the 260s, and now hitting at .314. And a changeup is in for a strike, 1-1.
David has hit 300 on a season before, but a career .286 hitter coming into play here in 2010. So not a surprise that he's hovering around 290 to 300. Even for him at 314, that error might be getting a little thin. He's a solid line drive hitter. And as you mentioned, over the last 4 weeks, he has been hot. That's that off-speed pitch. That's that split finger pitch that he uses. Diving action on it. So already he has established 3 different pitches here in this inning that he can throw for a strike. If he gets that over tonight, it's going to be tough.
Posednik with 18 stolen bases. He has been thrown out 6 times. Doesn't have a very threatening lead over there, and David fouls it away. A little bit on Paulino. He is from the Dominican Republic and has been in the Astros organization since 2001. Originally, he was signed as a shortstop, so he had to convert. It happened early in his professional career, and the Astros brought him along very slowly. He didn't get to the big leagues until 2007. Two balls, 2 strikes. Didn't win his first game this year until June the 4th, after starting the season 0-7. Into shallow center field, and it's going to drop in front of Bourne. Posednik will stop at second base, and the Royals have 2 on with 1 out.
Good to have a couple base runners early in the ballgame. The Royals really haven't hit the ball hard yet. Here's the breaking ball. In on the trademark a little bit for David, so it drops in short center field. Kendall got tied up with a pitch. Posednik had the infield hit, so ball hadn't been hit hard yet. It got men on first and second with 1 out.
And now the Royals have Billy Butler up there, coming off a huge game in Cincinnati on Sunday, driving in 4 runs. Prior to that, Billy had driven in just 1 run in the first 5 games. It is 6th home run of the year on Sunday afternoon. So the Royals have a hot hitter at the plate with 2 on, 1 out. The Astros are hoping for a double play, and Billy has grounded into 17 this year. 1 ball, 1 strike.
They'll probably try to balance inside, outside with Billy, but look how shallow they are in center field. Michael Bourne now has speed, and he can go back in a big hurry, but wow, that is challenging the number 4 hitter right there.
And we haven't seen enough of Michael Bourne to know where he plays, but I wonder if he's in the shadows just because it's easier to read the ball. Pulled through the left side, so no ground ball double play here. Instead, Billy Butler drives in his 36th, and the Royals take a 1-0 lead.
Well, Billy's a solid contact hitter. Hit the ball low and hard. He has been plagued by the double play ball this year. Power chasing to the left side. Royals will run every day on the left fielder, Carlos Lee. He does not throw well, so challenge him. But Billy loves to hit the fastball. It looks to be just barely on the inner half, about mid-thigh high. That's right in his zone.
And now Jose Guillen, who has a 9-game hitting streak. Strike 1 from Paulino. Jose hitting an even 400 on the road trip, so he's up to 263. In the middle of the last homestand, Jose's batting average dropped down into the 240s. Had a play, no balls, 2 strikes. Anyway, getting back to Michael Bourne, and we can ask the Astros if he normally plays this shallow, but I would imagine that it would be difficult for him if he was a little deeper to be in the sunlight trying to pick up the ball in the shadows, and he is right along the line of where the stadium shadows meets the waning sunlight.
That might be one of the reasons he is playing in there, although he could deepen up a little bit for Jose Guillen. He plays in a very big center field at Minute Maid Park. That's that ballpark with the slope up in center field, the flagpole in the middle of it right there. So remember, it's about 4:30 out there, isn't it?
And that's before you get to the hill. Or is that after the hill?
It's at the top of the hill.
Guillen down on strikes. And that sun also makes it difficult for the right fielder. Of course, the ball will not be in the sun, but any high fly ball to right, Hunter Pence and David DeJesus will have to deal with some glare. So 2 down, and now Alberto Callaspo. The Royals hope that he is rested and refreshed. Remember, on opening day, the Royals were still careful with Callaspo. He had a bit of an oblique strain, nothing serious. And the Royals decided to sit him on opening day, but then he played every single game through last Saturday. So Ned Yost figured he needed a day off, didn't play Sunday, and he ended up getting 2 days off with no game yesterday. 1 ball, 1 strike from Paulino.
Ryan, sometimes the managers will even look a little closer than that. They'll look at the clock. He played on Saturday night, got Sunday off, got Monday off, and all day Tuesday. It's almost 3 full days off with this being a night game. So managers even count it down to hours when they take one of their everyday guys out. First time I ever heard that was from Whitey Herzog. Somehow he worked that 3rd day in there somehow. It took me a while to figure it out, but yeah, they got it going.
Well, 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1, right?
Used to.
Half a Sunday. Half of today. Left field. Lee backs up into the sunlight and makes the play. That's the inning. But the Royals strike first and take a 1-0 lead. Sednick, Meyer, and DeJesus in the outfield. Both Meyer and DeJesus with long, errorless streaks. Iasco, Betancourt, Aviles, Butler on the dirt. And Jason Kendall behind the plate rounds out the Suzuki Royals defense. T-shirt Tuesday presented by Sprint. So yellow T-shirts to the first 20,000 fans. And Kauffman Stadium looks like a field of daisies. Carlos Lee, Hunter Pence, and Pedro Feliz coming up. And we spent some time talking about how Kyle wants to avoid the walks, and the last thing you want to do is walk the leadoff man. And even though Kyle walked Michael Bourne in his 21 stolen bases, got a double play and only faced 3 in the top of the first.
And you see Carlos Lee with the 35 RBIs. 7 of those have come on this current road trip. Started with a 4-gamer in Colorado. Here against the Yankees over the weekend at the new Yankee Stadium, where they got swept.
When he unloaded that swing, Split, I don't think that was the final result he was looking for. I think he was thinking Astros bullpen, not Royals dugout.
Yeah, the long fly ball. Instead, it ends up on the end of the bat.
Fox Tracks presented by Taco Bell, and had Carlos Lee reaching. Davies gets the first out of the second inning. So all 4 outs on the ground. And now Hunter Pence. He has homered 10 times this year. Carlos Lee has homered 10 times. And that is slightly more than half of the Astros' power this year. Astros have hit just 39 home runs.
Pence has already had an up and down season. He was cold in April. May typically is his best month. And he swung it well in May of this year as well.
1 ball, 1 strike. You know, as David DeJesus is following that foul ball, I'm thinking the difference between DeJesus and Pence, both right fielders. David has the steady, quiet, consistent mechanics. Hunter Pence has so much movement at the plate. You could see where one little thing gets out of whack and he could be up and down an entire season.
They call his style unorthodox. It isn't anything that you would teach, but it certainly works for him.
He is a homegrown Astro, 2nd-round pick in 2004, out of the University of Texas Arlington.
So he's able to stay right at home and play. He mentioned an all-star last year for the first time. He does a little bit of everything for the ball club. Does a good job getting on base and is capable of stealing the bases. He has 14 of them last year, and half that many are already here in 2010.
So the Astros still without a hit, but Kyle has walked 2, and up comes Pedro Feliz. Always known as an excellent glove man, Feliz hasn't quite given a few teams what they had hoped for with the bat, and batting just .227 for the Astros. And he was late on that fastball. 0-1.
Phillies loved what he gave them last year in the form of 82 RBIs. Didn't hit well in the World Series. Back at .174 in the postseason Fall Classic.
Kyle never really got into huge trouble against Minnesota on Wednesday. He gave up 5 one-run innings. A couple of times the defense let him down. There was a forced play at second base the Royals didn't get. There was a double play they didn't turn. That led to a couple of runs. But when the game was over, Kyle was not talking about his defense. He was talking about his 5 walks. And prior to that split, he had a nice long stretch where he wasn't walking many hitters. 1-2.
We were looking at his record this year. In his first 12 starts, it breaks down to 3 games at a time. His first 3 times out this year, walks were not a problem. The next 3, he didn't pitch as well, they were a problem. Then he and Bob McClure went back to work. Next 3 ball games, lost, not an issue. Then they started to be, and hopefully tonight is the next 3-game segment where he's back on track and in the zone a lot. Talking to Bob McClure today, it's all about fastball command. He doesn't get a lot of tailing action on. His best fastball is a little cut fastball, runner down and away from the right-handed hitters. When he's on, he'll have an effective curveball with some downward bite. And I think it was 3 starts ago, the changeup was a great pitch for him. It's against Colorado. He had a number of swing and misses on a straight changeup. Great running action down and away. That day, he was a 3-pitch guy. He got them all over, and he had a good ball game. But it has not been consistent for him, and you made the point early on. Better than 100 starts now at the major league level. And it's time to start getting it done on a consistent basis.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. And he doesn't really strike you as a guy that would have control problems because he has very simple mechanics. I mean, Kyle Davies, I think, would be someone you would videotape and show to a kid that wants to become a pitcher someday about how simple playing catch with the catcher can be.
You could say the same thing about Brian Bannister. Their deliveries are somewhat the same. Size is the same. Arm slot is the same. In fact, there are 2 guys who want to separate them in the rotation because you wouldn't want them going back to back. Now, Bannister has worked a little bit more in getting and had more success in getting sinking action on the fastball a little bit more than Kyle Davies.
That pitch was up, and Feliz gets on top of it and bangs it off the wall. Pence is going to be waved home. Feliz has a double and ties the game at 1. That pitch was so high, Split. I mean, I don't even know if that was a bad pitch.
Well, a lot of times if you've got to skip on the fastball like he does, there they are set up inside. They wanted to come inside. It was almost like Feliz was looking for that. Cleared the front side. Big item for him. See how he stays on top of the ball? So many times you're underneath it and you're popping up. But he stays on top of this and drives it up into the left field corner. That's terrific hitting right there. A lot of times that hitter will swing through that high fastball. Maybe not even make contact. But big double right there. Feliz has RBI number 21 on the year.
And now Quintero fouls the first pitch away. We take that back. Jason Michaels. So the Astros in the American League ballpark get the designated hitter. So Paulino will not have to hit. And Jason Michaels, the Royals have seen him when he was playing left field with the Cleveland Indians. Broken bat. And Michaels is out. Feliz moves up to third base. So Davies has broken a couple of bats, and all of his outs so far have been on the ground. And now Humberto Quintero. Quintero has some painful memories of Kansas City. Back in 2005, the Astros were here, and in the final game of the series, Quintero wasn't feeling very well, so they had a doctor take a look at him, and he had appendicitis. He had to have an emergency appendectomy, and so the team left Kansas City. He stayed behind. We'll roll it to Billy Butler, who gets to the bag in front of Quintero to end the inning. However, the Astros tie it. Mike Aviles played in just one game during the Cincinnati series. Chris Getz started on Friday and on Sunday. It'll be Aviles, Mitch Maier, and Yuniesky Betancourt against Felipe Paulino. Royals getting an infield single from Scott Pasednik, and with one out, Billy Butler singled him home. The Royals missed Felipe Paulino last year in Houston. He was on the disabled list with a right groin injury. They're facing him for the first time, and Aviles out into shallow left center field, and that'll drop in front of Michael Bourne. The Royals have 4 hits against Felipe Paulino. Really only one of them hit hard.
Aviles kind of flies open on the front side. He does that on a regular basis, so he invites you to pitch him on that side of the plate. That's the breaking ball from Paulino. Tough pitch to handle, but Aviles able to get enough bat on it to loop it in short left center field. He wants to get their leadoff man on for the 2nd consecutive inning.
And now strike to Mitch Maier, who had a good road trip, hit .333. I asked Kevin Seitzer, how is it possible that Mike Aviles flies open the way he does, but hits the way he does? I mean, he's hitting over 300. And Kevin says, don't pay as much attention to the front foot as Paulino throws it away, and Aviles will move up to second base. So an error on Paulino.
Ryan, that's a break for the Royals right there. Paulino does a great job of holding base runners. It's one of his strengths. I think he was going for the pickoff right here. A snap throw to first, but throwing wildly and picks up the arrow. So the Royals pick up 90 feet, get a man in scoring position. So what is the strength now turns into a mistake. See if he can capitalize. If you watch Aviles in batting practice, he doesn't fly open on that front side. He stays in really pretty well, so you watch him in BP, and then what you see in the ball game is a little bit different.
And Kevin was saying, you know, certainly it would be much easier to work with if he would stride towards the mound, but that's just the way he hits. He said, don't watch the foot as much as the hip, because sometimes the foot will go towards third, but he's able to keep that front hip closed, and that's why he's still able to hit the ball hard to right center and right field. And that's stroked into right center field, and the Royals are going to regain the lead. So the error turns into a run. Leadoff man on both innings. Both come around to score.
Ryan, the good thing about this start for the Royals is they're going against a guy who has been on top of his game lately. His last 5 outings, he has been outstanding for Houston. Now all of a sudden you get him reeling a little bit. Remember, he has not won on the road yet this year, even though he has pitched well at times. So you get a run in the first, another one in the second. He may not get an opportunity to settle in here tonight.
And now Maier at second base for Yuniesky Betancourt. And that's off the glove of Quintero. So things are unraveling for the Astros defensively in the second inning. An error by Paulino, and now that's probably going to be a pass ball on Quintero. It is a pass ball. And Quintero out to the mound as if to suggest he got a pitch he wasn't expecting.
Absolutely. He's looking slider, and he got fastball. If you're looking for the slider, you have almost no chance to catch a fastball at all because it's already by you. It's a tough pass ball when you're not looking for the fastball and it's already at the screen.
Yeah, Quintero saying easy for you to say. 1 ball, 1 strike. Didn't look like a very good choice from Betancourt, but you could see the intent. Looked like he was just trying to hit a ground ball to the right side and get Maier in from third base. Betancourt 5 RBIs in the Cincinnati series, and 4 of them coming in game 1 on Friday, including the game-winning RBI in the 11th inning.
And this is what Betancourt saw. He saw those middle infielders back. So, hey, any kind of ground ball up the middle will get that runner home. Betancourt has great numbers lifetime against Houston. How about a 364 average? Kind of jumps out at you.
Avila singles, goes to second on an error. Mitch Meyer doubles him home, and Meyer to third on the pass ball. Two balls, 2 strikes.
And you mentioned the Royals to Duncy Paulino last year. He had 3 different tours with their big league cup. Part of it was the disabled list that you mentioned, but also back to the minor leagues a couple times. He didn't get into their rotation until late in the year. 23 appearances, 17 of them starts, and up and down a couple times, so the Royals didn't see him.
And the count goes from 1-2 to 3-2.
You're probably hungry for an RBI. He had 5 of them over the weekend in Cincinnati.
Pence gets behind it in right. Meyer tags, and then Meyer holds. Pence with a good arm. That would have been close. Quintero having to go up the line. So no reason to gamble with nobody out. Runner at third, 1 away. Just a reminder to go to FoxSportsKansasCity.com to vote for your Royals' top memorable moment. A moment you'd like to see replayed here on Fox Sports Kansas City. Perhaps the final out from the 1985 World Series.
How about any time you beat the Yankees?
Strike to Scott Pasednik, reached with an infield single in the first inning and scored on Billy Butler's single. So a good start to the homestand for Pasednik. He was just 5 out of 26 during the road trip, and that's just 192. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Houston decides to pull the infield in with 1 out in the inning. Pasednik likes to hit the ball on the ground. So they go ahead and challenge with their middle infielders. A little bit deeper on the left side with their shortstop. A little bit deeper. But in tight at both first and second. Normally, if you're going to back off in the infield position, it's on the pull side, not the opposite side.
And Pasednik lifts it to left field. Carlos Lee is there. Here comes Meyer down the line. And the Royals take a 3-1 lead. So 1 in the first, 2 in the third.
The Royals have really done a nice job in this inning, taking advantage of the mistakes that Houston has made. Error on the pitcher, the pass ball. 2 runs in the inning.
Jason Kendall flied out to center field in the first inning. It took the Colorado Rockies on Wednesday 8 innings to score 2 runs against Felipe Paulino. And the Royals have scored 3 in less than 2 innings. And this is a pitcher that we showed you is throwing very well in his last 3 before tonight. The Astros have won all 3 of those games. But Paulino with just 1 decision, even though he went 8 innings in each of his last 3 starts, and his pitch count is getting up there already. He's moving up on 50 pitches already, and we're only in the second inning, so he's going to have to pull it together if he wants to go 8 innings again tonight. Still 1-2. Just missed down and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's a great story at Royals.com about Jason Kendall and his father Fred, and if you read it and you learn about Fred, you can see where Jason's mentality comes from. That is pulled foul off to the third base side, and we got a taste of that when Fred Kendall was part of Buddy Bell's coaching staff.
Ryan, that's one of the things I do like about the interleague play. You get to see some guys from the other league. Now, Fred and I were of the same era. I heard his name a lot, but never got to see him play. He was with San Diego most of his career. Trained in Arizona. We were in Florida. He was in the National League. I was in the American League. I never saw him play in person, but did enjoy his time when he was here as a bullpen coach in Kansas City. And you talk about cut out of the same mold. This is just a younger version.
Manzella behind the bag gets Kendall to end the inning. Royals get 2 against Paulino in the second.
By Sprint night as well. Joel Goldberg down in the third base dugout suite, joined right now by Todd Rowley, Vice President of 4G. First off, a big night here for Sprint and lots of yellow shirts running around. Got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're proud to kind of be showing the company colors, so it's really awesome.
And then everybody's seeing this and hearing about it a little bit, the unleashing, the unveiling of 4G, and you can get it around the ballpark and throughout much of Kansas City. For people that don't understand that, explain that a little bit.
Well, 4G is kind of a whole new technology. It's a quantum leap for everybody. And basically, it's bringing kind of speed and performance. Overnight, you're just kind of getting really quick downloads. And it's really kind of able to give you a whole broadband experience on the go.
And people that have heard about this new Evo or have it, and I've got it, it's pretty unbelievable. 4G on there, video, camera. I mean, it's state of the art, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is state of the art. I mean, it provides, the connectivity wherever you go. You're able to download videos. You're able to kind of do teleconferencing. You can shoot great video. You can download movies. And obviously, you can keep up with the Royals, which is awesome. I saw you doing that earlier, keeping up with the stats. It's pretty neat, huh?
Well, I needed to make sure as I was going down the elevator to come down here that I missed one play, and I quickly looked it up. Now, exactly what happened there? Oh, I looked at my Evo, and I was able to figure that out. And you were telling me that you've got a friend that literally went and shot his kid's basketball game, went home, plugged it into the TV, and watched it with his family.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing camera. You can shoot high definition. He was actually able to shoot his daughter's basketball game and shoot part of it, upload it live back to his wife, and then also plug it in with an HDMI output into his big screen TV. So pretty neat to be able to kind of have that real time wherever you're at.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with phone. With 4G. Thanks for all you guys do, and enjoy your time at the ballpark tonight.
All right, go Royals. Thank you very much.
All right, that is Todd Rowley. A lot of fun out here tonight. Ryan and Frank, let's go. Or Ryan and Split. Wait, Frank's with me. Oh, man. Split, love you. Back upstairs.
I should have ran over him in the parking lot when I had the chance earlier today.
Some pretty quick kissing up there at the end. Second time through for Kyle Davies. He walked Michael Bourne to begin the game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. But then Bourne was erased when Jeff Keppinger bounced into a double play. Pulled to the hole. Butler hustling back to the bag, and the throw is low. It wasn't a great throw, and plus Billy didn't have a lot of time to get himself set up and see where the throw was going to be.
Brian, it's one of those plays. Normally Billy would probably go for this ball right there, but because of the speed of Bourne, he knows that he can't, because then Bourne would beat the pitcher to the bag. So the best chance of making that play, Billy get to the bag, Aviles get to the ball. Had to double clutch a couple times to get Billy back to the bag. Certainly a makeable play by the second baseman, and a makeable pick at first by Billy.
It'll be an error on Aviles. So 1 on, 1 out. Kyle Davies able to get a ground ball double play from Jeff Keppinger in the first inning. 5-4-3, Callaspo, Aviles, Butler. And on Sprint night, we have a Sprint themed You Call It. One ball, 1 strike. And since 4G is the fastest network, we're going to ask you which former Royal had 4G speed. Willie Wilson, Bo Jackson, Brian McRae, or Joey Gathright. Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, a space, followed by A, B, C, or D. That would have been a pretty good race. It would have been an excellent relay team.
I wonder what the stopwatch would say. I mean, I can't really tell. And to me, Willie did the best job of, circling the bases. Bo was probably the best athlete. Boy, Brian is right there as well. Gathright had the tremendous speed. I don't know that it played out in the baseball field quite as well as the other ones, but he had it.
Who would be your anchor man if you had a relay team with those 4 guys?
I saw Willie running the super teams, and Cliff Harris, who was a quarter miler in college, didn't want any part of it.
Bourne is running, and it's fouled away by Keppinger. Still 6 opportunities for you to win a suite here at Kauffman Stadium to enjoy a Royals game for you and 11 guests. If you send in your text tonight, you'll get a bounce back text from Sprint with instructions on how you can register, or you can visit the website.
I'd love to win that. 11 guests in a suite.
You have so many friends, though. How could you narrow it down to 11?
First guys to call, you're in.
And there is that suite.
Right up over us, huh?
Well, looks like there's room up there right now for you. Tell you what, the new suites here at Kauffman Stadium are beautiful. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Keppinger.
I walk by those most every night heading back out to Rivals for the post game. Folks really enjoy them, and they are nice. I mean, how can you not like that on a night like this? 82 degrees at game time, not cloud anywhere for a change.
Bourne runs again, strikeout, and the throw is well wide at second base, and now interference is going to be called on Keppinger. Brad Mills is going to come out and argue. So Keppinger is out because of the strikeout. And Bourne is out because of the interference. Inning over. of his free time so that he can help others. Roney volunteers for Rose Brooks Center, a local agency for victims of domestic violence. He is enjoying the game tonight in the Buck O'Neil Legacy seat and enjoying a barbecue sandwich, which is probably what Buck would be enjoying if he were sitting behind home plate. David DeJesus, Billy Butler, and Jose Guillen coming up in the bottom of the third inning. David unloads on the first pitch, strike one.
Ryan, here's a look at that last call, the interference. Check out the follow through by Keppinger. The bat head hits Kendall on the lead arm, and the contact is made there. Now that was an off-speed pitch down and in, so really the pitch kind of takes Kendall into the bat. The rule is 6:06.
DeJesus safe, beating the throw from Keppinger. The Royals have another either bloop or infield base hit. They have 6 total hits already.
Batter interferes with the catcher's fielding or throwing by stepping out of the batter's box or making any other movement. It hinders the catcher's play at home plate. And an infield hit by DeJesus. So the Royals have their leadoff man on again. Third inning in a row, they've done that here tonight.
And in the first 2, that leadoff man has come around to score. Posednik in the first, Aviles in the second. Meyer also scored in the second inning. And Billy Butler hits a smash that is backhanded by Feliz. And now the Astros turn a double play. And that's the 18th grounded into by Butler this year. And we see the good glove work down at third base by Feliz.
Hey, Ryan, you mentioned that's what he is known for. And this ball hit so hard that even though these throws are pretty long, Billy has no chance to beat it out. 5-4-3 on the twin killing.
Jose Guillen struck out swinging in the first inning. Now, I believe, and I don't have the rule book memorized, but if there was only 1 out in the inning, the batter is out for interference, but the runner goes back to first base. But since the batter is already out for striking out, that's an out, plus there's an out for interference, and that's how you get the third and final out of the inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Guillen.
I believe on the interference, the runner is out if he's trying to steal.
Off the end of the bat, Berkman to the hole. And Polino, with a very high pitch count, only needs 8 to get through the bottom of the third inning. Fourth inning. Let's take a look at tonight's league leaders, brought to you by our Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Most games started by a catcher this year, and Jason Kendall has started 7 more than Yadier Molina of the Cardinals, and he's 8 years older. So take that, young guy.
Ned Yost kind of helps Jason Kendall out a little bit when you have some blowout games, which the Royals have had. He'll pull him after 5 or 6 innings, get Brian Pena in for the remainder of the ball game. Even a few innings off will help a guy who's out there every day. Plus, Jason has his own routine at the start of the ball game. He's not on the field the entire time during batting practice. He'll hit with his group and be out on the field for a while, but he's not out there the whole time that the rest of the team is. So he knows what he has to do to get ready every day. Al Davis would love to get that pitch over the straight changeup, especially to the left-handed hitters.
Three balls, 2 strikes on Berkman. He grounded back to Davies in the first inning, and now Lance Berkman is 0 for his last 15, and over a longer stretch, 1 for his last 24. Here's tonight's Roadrunner Turbo Speed Pitch comparison, and Polino has hit 98 tonight. Davies up to 94. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Into right center field, and that will drop. So Berkman ends the string, and he will hold at second base with a double. Don't forget, tomorrow is the first ever free hot dog night at Kauffman Stadium. Each fan will get 1 free hot dog presented by Farmland Foods. It's a 7-10 game with the Royals and the Astros. It'll be Bruce Chen for KC and Roy Oswalt for Houston. Royals.com or 1-800-6-ROYALS if you want to get your tickets right now. And now Carlos Lee into left center field, so Berkman will score easily. And Carlos Lee drives in his 36th of the year.
Astros quick on the attack, trying to get back into this one. Berkman got a low changeup. Now there's a high fastball up and out over the plate. Down near the end of the bat for Carlos Lee. Didn't really drive the ball, but got it over the infield. Picks up the RBI. Berkman around third. No problem him scoring, but important to keep the double play in order.
One ball, no strike on Hunter Pence with 1 out in the second inning. He walked and scored on the Feliz double. And that's hit hard into the left field corner and off the bottom of the wall. Carlos Lee will go first to third. Hunter Pence has a double. So the Astros with 1 run, 1 hit in the first 3 innings, and now here in the fourth, 2 doubles and a single, all well hit.
Trying to come inside again with the fastball and didn't quite get it there. Didn't get it in on the hands enough, and Pence able to open up that front side. You're talking about the unorthodox style, kind of a slashing type hitter. Slash that one hop off the wall in left field. Almost like the identical swing of Pedro Feliz his last time up when he doubled into that same corner. Another high fastball there trying to come in on the hands.
And while they discuss what to do with Pedro Feliz coming up. We'll tell you that baseball's biggest stars will go head-to-head for one spectacular night in the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2010 Major League All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July the 13th, live from Anaheim at 7 p.m. only on Fox.
Be here before you know it. About 4 weeks from tonight.
And that's through the right side. A base hit for Feliz. It will score one to tie the game. So Carlos Lee comes down from third. Hunter Pence moves up to third. And Pedro Feliz 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs.
Another ball up in the zone right there. There's a high cutter. Feliz, different kind of swing than what he had the last time when he pulled the ball up into the left field corner, but stays on top, drives it hard the opposite way. He has a couple RBIs tonight. We got a brand new ball game.
And now Jason Michaels, as the Royals are going to pull back the tarp in the right field bullpen. And with the Astros scoring 2 in the top of the 4th inning. Looks like Kanakoa Teixeira is going to be in to warm up. So 4 straight hits, 2 runners home. And the count 2 balls, no strikes on Michaels.
Brian, I think this is a big week for Royals starters. You take a look at that last road trip. The ERA of starting pitchers was an 8.21. Well, you say Bannister had that blow-up ball game on the road, so well, let's take that one out. Even without Bannister's ball game, the starters' earned run average was 6.39, way too high. Of course, against a couple of good offensive teams, the Twins up in Minneapolis and Cincinnati leading the National League in runs scored. So that's going to be a tough week, but you also had a couple starts that didn't go 5 innings. You had 3 starts that didn't go 6. So this is a big week against a team that is struggling with the bat.
Now 2 balls, 2 strikes on Michaels. Well, this isn't pretty for Astros fans. They are last in their league in hitting, in home runs, on base percentage, second from the bottom in runs scored, and 12th in stolen bases. So there really isn't one offensive statistic they can hang their hat on. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes on Michaels.
We'd really like to have something that you could say you do very well to possibly win ball games. The big thing with them is they have been inconsistent. You take a look at their last homestand, they went 5-2. They averaged about 5 runs per ball game. But now on this road trip, they're averaging about 3.5 runs per game. So they have not been consistent. You mentioned the 0-8 start that they got off to this year. They're averaging less than 2 runs per ball game. Then Berkman got back. They won 8 out of their next 10. And they averaged 5 runs per game. So they've been up and down all season long with their offense. But as those numbers would tell you, they've been down more often than they've been up.
Feliz takes off from first base, and Michaels pulls it foul. So 3 balls, 2 strikes. Kyle Davies off to a good start tonight in the first 3 innings, giving up just 1 run on 1 hit. But now looking for his first out of the inning and facing his 5th batter, and thinking maybe that Feliz would take off again. And that's pulled through the left side. So the Astros take a 4-3 lead with 5 straight hits in the top of the 4th.
Ryan, there has not been a hitter been fooled in this inning. 5 hitters have come to the plate. All 5 of them have gotten pretty good swings on different pitches. Not everything up in the zone, but primarily it's been the fastball. Berkman got a hit on a straight changeup, and that's going to do it for Davies.
And it comes to an end very quickly. HOU at KCA comes in, and the Chevy call to the bullpen. On Sprint night at Kauffman Stadium, there are a lot of yellow t-shirts in the crowd tonight. Sprint, the official wireless provider of the Kansas City Royals, is celebrating the launch of the Sprint 4G network in Kansas City and the release of America's first 4G phone. Sprint's 4G network, the first in the U.S., offers download speeds 10 times that of existing 3G networks. And in tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint in honor of 4G, which former Royal had 4G speed. 42% going with Willie Wilson over Bo Jackson, Joey Gathright. How about a little love for BMAC? Only 3%.
He's in the fast heat there. And HOU at KCA, a big road trip for him. Pitched one time in Minnesota, a couple times in the Cincinnati series. Really bailed out the bullpen on Saturday night.
Quintero gets a great bunt down, and Ashbo throws him out. So Feliz moves up to third base. Michaels moves up to second. So that puts 2 runners in scoring position for Tommy Manzella, and what a difference the 2 leagues make. Here's the number 9 hitter coming up with 2 runners in scoring position. If we were in Houston, the number 9 hitter would be the pitcher. Manzella popped out to second base in the 3rd inning. You talk about the Royals bullpen, and in the Cincinnati series, we certainly remember what Zach did on Sunday, and the Royals had 2 very good games on offense. But the Royals bullpen allowed just 1 earned run in 12 innings. Of course, that was just the first 2 games because Zach went all 9 on Sunday. 1 ball, 1 strike. That bullpen had to do some bailing out. Luke Hochevar went just 4 on Friday, and Brian Bannister went 3 on Saturday.
KCA pitched 2/3 of an inning in that Friday night ball game. He was the first guy out of the pen on Saturday, where he turned in 3 hitless innings. Royals really liked what they saw out of him in spring training. He was with Seattle in camp. He's a Rule 5 guy. Royals saw kind of a deceptive delivery, a good sinking fastball, and a slider to go with it. Obviously did not pitch well with the M's at the start of the season, or he had not been put on waivers. Had better than a 5.0 ERA with Seattle to open the year.
Great pitch over the inside. Manziel, I don't know if he's shaking his head at the umpire or at himself.
Not a lot he can do with this pitch, Ryan, except maybe pound it off his front foot. Sinking fastball, that's his bread and butter pitch. Teixeira knows that. Maybe got a little bit of a break on the call, but that's too close to take when you have 2 strikes. Big strikeout in the inning.
Fox Tracks presented by Taco Bell. So 2nd and 3rd and 2 down for Michael Bourne. And he gets that one past Cayaspo. So Alberto was playing in. And Bourne gets it right by him and over the bag and drives in 2, and the Astros lead 6-3.
Well, Ryan, as you mentioned, Cayaspo in at the cut of the grass because of the speed of Bourne. We've seen him make this play many times this year when he's able to play a little bit deeper to the backhand side. That might be his best side to field this ball. But when you're playing to cut of the grass, you don't have much time to make that play. And if he was playing deeper, he'd have a hard time throwing Bourne out, who can really move down the line. But you have almost no chance at all when you're playing in at the cut of the grass.
So Bourne at second, and now Keppinger takes a little bit inside. So Keppinger, the 9th man to come up. He is grounded into a double play, and then part of a strikeout interference double play to end the top of the 3rd inning. Striking out against Kyle Davies and then interfering with Jason Kendall as Kendall was trying to throw down to second base. Michael Bourne was running. So the strikeout and the interference, and the Royals got out of the 3rd with Kyle Davies facing only 3. So he was looking pretty good after 3 innings. But in this inning, phase 5, retired no one, all 5 coming around to score. So Kyle gives up 6 runs, 6 hits in 3 innings. Three balls, 1 strike. Now 4-pitch walk, so 2 on for Lance Berkman, and he started all this with a double.
Ryan, so many times when you have a big inning like this where Houston scored 5 times, you look at the inning and you have done something to help them along the way. It's not all just back-to-back base hit, but that has not been the story of this inning. They have swung the bats. Half a dozen hits, and half of those have gone for extra bases. As you mentioned, their offense kind of comes out of nowhere. Just 1 hit in the first 3 innings against Kyle Davies, so it ended quickly for him here tonight.
Over the outside to Lance Berkman. He grounded out in the first inning. That made him 0 for his last 15, but then doubled into right center field to start this inning. Still batting at just .240. Like Alberto Cayaspo, he was given Sunday off by manager Brad Mills, and the Astros also had an off day yesterday, and that is into the left field corner and just foul. Home run distance, but slicing in front of the foul pole.
This left field here at Kauffman Stadium quite a bit deeper than what they have at Minute Maid Park. The Crawford seats very shallow in left field at their home ballpark, and Berkman very good at taking the ball that way.
Just missed the inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Berkman last year against the Royals in Houston The Astros avoid a sweep, hitting 2 home runs in the final game of the series. And his second home run gave him 1,000 career RBIs. Slow roller up third, and Callaspo throws him out by less than 1 step. The Astros get 5 to take a 3-run lead.
They had batted around and really messed up my book.
Powerful, lightweight, dependable, versatile. Yard Care Solutions. Start at SteelDealers.com.
Alberto Castro, first ball hitting, a lazy fly ball to center field. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Now all of a sudden the complexion of this ball game changes altogether. New life for Felipe Paulino. Has a 3-1 lead to try to nurse now. Take it as deep as he can into the ball game. Pitch count is at 61 for him.
Mike Aviles leading off the second inning with a single. Went to second on an error by Paulino when he tried to pick him off. Scored on Mitch Meyer's double. Then Mitch coming home on Pasednik's sac fly. And the Royals had a 3-1 lead. Only to watch the Astros come up with 5 runs, 6 hits in the 4th inning. And the first 5 in the inning, reaching with base hits, all coming around to score. All charged to Kyle Davies.
Ryan, what you don't want right now if you're a Royals fan is Paulino to get in a comfort zone. Face the minimum in the 3rd. Retired the last 3 batters he faced in the 2nd. All of a sudden now he's feeling pretty good about things.
Keppinger, pretty acrobatic play. Will make that Manzella, the rookie, showing off some range, showing off some athleticism. No out at first base.
Had to be a high chopping ground ball, not hit all that hard to give him an opportunity. Look how far he has to go to his left. Squarely behind the bag. By the time he makes the throw, he's on the first base side of second base. Momentum such that he can't get anything on the throw. Maybe fortunate he didn't throw it away.
And ball 1 to Mitch Meyer. You know, it's plays like that, Split, that's not going to make a highlight film because Aviles is safe. But it's another play that the good ones, and you're not good unless you get to this level, like Manzella, make a play like that look so easy. Running as hard as he can in one direction, and not directly away from the target, but somewhat away from his target. And then as he's running, going into a complete 360 without stopping. And he didn't get it to Berkman on the fly, but he made a very accurate throw.
And if you don't have a good base runner, he might have thrown him out. I mean, most of them are going to beat it out. You figure all the left-handed hitters would beat that throw. If you get a below average runner, you got a 6'3" put out. At this level, the game gets pretty fast. And you don't realize it from back where we are, but down on the field, you just go, wow, how did he do that?
Well, when this half inning's over and you're at home, go out in the street, grab a tennis ball, run as fast as you can down your street, pick up a ball while you're running, turn around 360 and try and throw it inside your neighbor's front door. And if anybody complains, go to www.asksplit.com. Well, the Royals with 2 on 1 out. Paulino walks his first, and Myers on base for the second time tonight. This homestand wraps up on Thursday. It's another in-college night, 7-10 game. High school and college students will get select tickets for just $7, but it's also Top Gun night. So we've been encouraging you to wear your aviator glasses, your bomber jackets, because there's going to be a costume contest and a chance to win great prizes on Thursday night. Betancourt jumps on a hanging breaking ball, got it down around the end of the bat. He'd like to have that swing again. Uni is 0 for 2. Aviles back to second. Meyer back to first. Imagine Paulino, as soon as that pitch came out of his hand, was going, oh no. And now Scott Pasednik led off the bottom of the first inning with an infield single. Came around on Butler's base hit, and then Pasednik driving in a run with a sacrifice fly in the second inning. Ed Yost having to go to the bullpen in the top of the 4th inning tonight, in the top of the 4th inning with nobody out. No balls, 2 strikes on Pasednik. 98 with movement at the knees.
On the corner, out of the middle of the plate.
They're going to go down to first base. Meyer assumed that Aviles was going to move up, but then Aviles stopped. So Meyer in no man's land is out. Berkman tags him out, and that's the inning.
out of the ballgame before their pen gets involved. But you sure hate to not have a mistake like the Royals just made on the bases.
You know, it looks bad on a play like that when Mitch Meyer is caught in between first and second, but maybe the real play, or the key to that play, is not necessarily the base running of Aviles and Meyer, but how quickly Quintero jumped on that ball, because Aviles was convinced he could go to third. So Meyer thinks he's going to go up to second base, but all of a sudden Quintero's on the ball and everyone realizes they have to stop.
Well, we were talking about the quickness of the play before, that the shortstop was unable to make that play, but great quickness on that last play by, as you mentioned, Quintero. Aviles looked for all the world like he was going to third base, and that was the read that Meyer had.
2 balls, 1 strike to Carlos Lee, 1 for 2. Singled in the 5-run 4th inning. Came around to score on Pedro Feliz base hit.
That inning really set up well for Houston, the heart of their order. Got it going to 5 straight base hits. Now you're down at the bottom, and they can play the little ball, get a bunt down, get some more people in scoring position.
Well, you talk about jammed. Mike Aviles makes a play. And with all that Carlos Lee has done to the Royals, going back to his days with the White Sox, I don't remember a swing like that. That's a pretty good pitch from Teixeira.
Well, check out the location and what Lee has to do to get it out to second base. Wants to extend his arms. Trying to fight that one off and stay inside. Couldn't get it done.
Hunter Pence has scored twice, walked and scored in the 2nd inning, doubled with an RBI and scored in the 4th. This is the 3rd time in the last 4 games that a Royals starter has gone 4 innings or less. Pence didn't mean to go around. 2 balls, 1 strike. In a loss on Saturday in Cincinnati, Teixeira went 3 innings and Dusty Hughes went 2. So Ned Yost only had to use 2 relievers after Brian Bannister was only able to go 3 innings. They really had everything lined up for the Royals on Sunday afternoon, but as it worked out, the Royals didn't need anyone because Zach Greinke went all 9.
And so many times that long reliever in your bullpen is such a thankless job. You're overlooked most of the time until you're not overlooked, and then you're overworked. You're in there a lot.
Through the hole on the right side, so Hunter Pence on base for the 3rd time. 1 on, 1 out. Royals Alumni Fantasy Camp is back. We hope that you'll join George Brett, Frank White, Brett Saberhagen, many other Royals in Surprise, Arizona this February. You going Split?
Like to. We'll see what the basketball schedule is.
All right, let's throw Paul Splittorff in there. Your chance to enter the world of Major League Baseball and live your dream of playing with the Royals Alumni. Fantasy Camp includes 2 personalized uniforms, your own clubhouse locker, an awards banquet, baseball cards, camp video, and much more. And some great stories.
Alumni had a successful batting practice out here at the stadium on Saturday. That's always a fun time too. Now it's not the whole week, but to get on the field and take live batting practice at home plate here at Kauffman Stadium. And a good day for the alumni as well. Yeah, you'd like to do that, wouldn't you?
I would love that. That'd be great. Pedro Feliz, and just as soon as we identified his .227 batting average in the 2nd inning, he promptly doubled in a run, and then in the 4th singled in a run and came around to score. So he's 2 for 2, and he's made a very good play on defense. Turning a double play in the bottom of the third inning on a smash from Billy Butler and a difficult backhand play. 5-4-3.
I mentioned earlier the 82 RBIs he had in Philadelphia last year, included a 266 batting average, a dozen home runs. So he's throwing the bat pretty well. Teixeira's made some really nice pitches already here tonight, in on the hands of the right-handed hitters.
Two balls, two strikes. Struck him out. 2 strikeouts for Teixeira. And 2 down in the 5th inning. Check the location on that last pitch. Fox Tracks is brought to you by Chevy.
Well, we know the sinking fastball is there on one side of the plate, so we'll go right back to it. That's where he's been effective so far here tonight.
It was interesting looking at that Fox Tracks there, split just to the matchup with Feliz, pitching the way I think pitchers want to in every plate appearance, keeping the ball on the edges of the strikes. I mean, everything was on the border, nothing in the middle.
Part of the command is to be able to get to those edges and keep it out of the middle. An ideal setup would be on the corner or off the plate, one side or the other. Some of the guys with the real good command will work all around that box, throw a strike when they want to, down or one side or the other when they are out of the strike zone, just barely out of the zone, kind of all the way around that box, but not very far outside.
One ball, one strike. Kaneko Teixeira, originally from the White Sox organization, traded to the Yankees organization, picked up in the Rule 5 by the Mariners, out of Maui, Hawaii.
Ryan, you would think the Yankees organization is one of them you would want to scout pretty well, because they bring so many players in from other teams that would move in front of their people. Not much opportunity to advance in their system.
Which is somewhat ironic, because the great run that began for the Yankees, winning in 1996, began with Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Andy Pettit, Bernie Williams, Mariano Rivera. Shallow right field, and David DeJesus is there. Teixeira pitches a scoreless 5th inning. All-Star game in Anaheim on July the 13th. Seen here on Fox, you may have met Kate Quigley with Joel Goldberg during Hy-Vee Royals Live before the game tonight. Kate with chainofhopekc.org, an organization that provides items, placement for neglected, abused cats and dogs in Kansas City. Joanne Fluke will be a guest of Joel tomorrow. Posednik was at the plate when Meyer was caught in between first and second after a pitch was in the dirt. Aviles at second base, headed for third. Meyer to second, and Quintero did a great job of jumping on that pitch quickly, so the runners stopped in their tracks, and Quintero went down to first and got Meyer. Posednik wants an appeal down to the third base umpire, Todd Tishner. And home plate umpire Mike Everett says, I don't need an appeal. You went around. And Polino has his second strikeout.
Home plate umpire can make that call himself. Doesn't need help if he thinks the bat got out over home plate. So Mike Everett thought he saw a swing. Quintero waited a minute to make sure they got the call right. First out of the inning. There's not been a big strikeout night for Polino. It's only his second. See what this side tells us.
Well, there's a couple of things to discuss when we see that. Number one, I have been told that umpires will say it looks good when you appeal down to the base umpire, but that the home plate umpire actually gets a better read. They can see the path of the bat, the plane of the bat, much better than the base umpires. It just looks better to ask help from someone else. Number two, we've also heard that it has more to do with the intent of the hitter than it does the breaking of the wrist or whether across the front plane of home plate. But then my question is, if it's intent, the moment he moves his bat towards the plate at all, his intent is to swing. So then at some point you have to draw the line and say, did the intent take him far enough?
It's a borderline call. It's one of those things that is not going to be consistent night in and night out. Looks like maybe Houston got a break on that last one. I think from a hitter's standpoint, if he's strong enough to pull the bat head back, it's not a swing, which I'm sure is what Scott Posednik thought right there.
One and two on David DeJesus, who is now hitting over 400 in his last 25 games, going 2 for 2 tonight with an infield single and a single to center field. So David is hitting .319.
Added 5 points to his average already tonight. Getting late in the year to be putting on those kind of points, especially for a guy who plays every day.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. David DeJesus began the Boston series 2 road trips ago hitting .272. Remember, he had missed the last 2 home games to be with his wife Kim for the birth of David Jr.
Right, if you think back to last year, he was a lot better second half hitter than he was first half. Got off to a very slow start in April and May. Didn't do much with the bat until late June, early July. David Still ended up hitting .281.
And he has another hit. Pretty good pitch too from Polino. DeJesus goes down and gets it. He's 3 for 3.
David has good bat control. Pitch him away, he'd go that way. Pitch him inside, he can't turn on the ball. That's a good breaking ball right there. It's down, but it has some of the plate. In fact, right in the middle of the plate. But David, because that ball is out over, can get the bat head out and guide it the opposite way. If it's a hitter up there looking to pull, he usually hit a weak little pop-up, maybe a ground ball in the infield. But cover the plate, use the center of the field. Try to play the percentages as best you can. Good hitting right there by DeJesus.
Split, do you ever tip your cap to a hitter in the middle of the game when you made a good pitch?
No, but I knew he did well.
Because that's what guys say. Well, sometimes you have to tip your cap to the hitter. But I've never seen that happen before.
That's why I didn't say that, because I knew where you were going.
You know, just once. You know, sometimes you need to tip your hat. Sometimes a hitter will say about a pitcher, you know, he got me out, and you got to tip your cap. Well, then do it.
Sometimes they just beat you.
2 balls, 1 strike to Billy Butler, who has hit 2 hard ground balls to the left side in the first inning. Got one through the left side with runners at first and second for an RBI in the 3rd inning. Hit it to the 3rd baseman, and that ended up being a double play. So Billy walks, 2 on, 2 out. And we remind you that replay returns with an all-new season. After 11 years, Gatorade reunites 2 high school rivals looking to finally settle the score. Don't miss the documentary premiere Sunday at 9 p.m. Check your local listings. Two on, 2 out, and now Jose Guillen. It is the 2nd walk given up by Paulino. Jose is struck out and grounded out.
Jose has that nice hitting streak. Had a good road trip, going 10 for 25, but only 3 RBIs. And part of the problem was Billy wasn't able to get on base in front of him. But on base now, DeJesus on his scoring position. So if you can extend your hitting streak, you'll probably get an RBI along the way.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Good off speed right there. Jose looking for something other than the changeup.
Paulino now at 93 pitches in the 5th inning. So he will not pitch 8 innings for a 4th straight start. And he comes right at Guillen with a fastball at 97. And Jose fouls it away. Now catcher's interference is called by Quintero.
That fastball in the middle part of the plate, but pretty good velocity with him at 97. Jose looking back saying, hey, wait a minute, there was a little something extra. Let's see if we can see it. But as good as our camera work is, that is tough to pick up. That's the call that the umpire makes because he hears it. He doesn't see it, he hears it.
Oh, that didn't look like it was anywhere near the glove. On the angle, that angle looks close, but the angle before looks like the bat went right over. Although Jose Guillen responded immediately, so he felt something.
And Quintero did not argue it.
So it is an error charged to Quintero, no charge at bat for Jose Guillen. We're really getting challenged with the rule book tonight. Bases loaded, 2 down for Alberto Callaspo. Callaspo is flied out twice to left field and to center field.
Alberto just 1 RBI on that last trip. An opportunity to get something here. You mentioned Paulino as a converted shortstop. He was also out of the Astros Venezuelan Academy. Many of the teams now have an academy in Latin America. So he was a product of that for Houston.
As was Freddie Garcia, Carlos Guillen, Richard Hidalgo.
Richard Hidalgo had some big years for this Houston ball club.
Callaspo swinging and drives it into right field. So it's 6-4. DeJesus comes down from third. And remember, we talked about this in Cincinnati. Over the past 2 weeks, the Royals have had several innings where they have scored after the inning began with 2 outs and nobody on, and they've done it again.
Well, the Houston offense in the 4th inning kind of came out of nowhere with the 5 consecutive base hits. Didn't look like they had anything going against Kyle Davies. And here in this inning, the Royals didn't have anything going against Paulino. As you mentioned, Brian, until 2 were out, so makes your hitting coach pretty happy. But the Royals got a break there with the error on the catcher to keep that inning alive. Now all of a sudden you feel like you're right back in this ballgame, trailing by just 2. Phone call has gone out to the bullpen.
The bearded Tim Burdick.
Did you say that this earlier this year? Warming up now.
So 2 outs, nobody on. David DeJesus singles, down in the count 1-2. Butler walks. Guillen reaches on catcher's interference. And Callaspo drives in a run. And they're loaded up for Mike Aviles, and he is 2 for 2.
And Paulino could be down to his last man. Left-handed hitter due up next. And Meyer.
Over the outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
We mentioned earlier that slider that Paulino throws, well thrown right there.
Grounded through the left side. Guillen will be waved home, and the Royals have tied it in the 5th inning.
This ball blistered and just hit it by Feliz, who's a good solid defensive third baseman. With 2 outs, every base runner goes on contact, and the Royals have come all the way back with 3 here in the bottom of the 5th. Aviles has a 3 for 3 night.
And Paulino will stay in there to face Mitch Meyer. And Mitch has had a good night so far. The Royals with 10 hits. And ball 1 is outside. Mitch doubled and scored in the 2nd inning. Also drove in a run and walked in the 4th. Change up in for a strike. .104 pitches and 30 in this inning. This is not the way Paulino has been pitching lately. That's a swing to Mitch Meyer. Again, 8 innings in his last 3, and he's gone at least 6 innings in 7 of his last 8.
And so many times you get in a jam like this, you try to throw harder and harder. Instead, he's gone the other way, back-to-back changeups. He's ahead in the count.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Paulino straining to get through 5 tonight. Royals have led 3-1. They have been down 6-3, and now 3 in the bottom of the 5th inning, in an inning that began with 2 outs and nobody on. The only play that he had, if you want to call that a play. He would have had a very difficult angle and not much time to throw if he had to pick that thing up and go down to first.
Brian, it's one of those plays the first baseman has to make it for you. If you're going to be in that line right there, Berkman has to set up a first base way to the inside to give Quintero much of a target at all. You can see the spin was already taking that ball toward the foul line. And once it rolls off the grass, it'll almost always head into foul territory.
Still 2-2. So there is the overall pitch count, which is 108. And there's also the pitch count in this inning, which is 35.
And Meyer really getting good swings on the fastball now. The off-speed pitch has been a little bit different problem, but he is seeing the fastball real well.
Lays off the breaking ball. So 3 balls, 2 strikes. And everyone is running on the next pitch.
And that breaking ball is a strikeout pitch that Paulino is going for. Show him the strike, get it in the zone, but break it in the dirt. So if he goes for it, you get the final out of the inning.
Runners take off, and Meyer walks. So they're loaded up for Betancourt.
I think Quintero saw that Meyer got his best swings on the fastball as well. Because when they came down to the final 2, they went breaking ball in the dirt. That was a straight changeup again. They didn't want Meyer, who had already extended that at bat, to get an opportunity at another fastball. They ended up walking him.
Well, Brad Mills is going to stay with Paulino, who thought, I'm sure, he was going to cruise through this 5th inning. He struck out Posednik and got Kendall on a fly ball to center field. But DeJesus single, Butler walked, Guillen reached on catcher's interference. Callaspo is single, Aviles is single, a walk, and now a blast to deep left field and off the wall. This will score 3, and Yuniesky Betancourt gives the Royals a 3-run lead.
Do it for Paulino. Maybe one pitch too late if you're a Houston fan. Betancourt loves to swing the bat early with men on base. The first ball hit here. Lee has been playing shallow in left field all night long and just got burned right there. That ball short hops the wall. And Betancourt, who had 5 RBIs on the road trip, picks up 3 more here tonight.
Former Royal Tim Burdick comes in.
Clearing the bases with a double off the wall in left field. Gets it Tim Burdick into the ball game. Spent 7 years in the Royals organization back in the late 90s. Started earlier in his career. Now comes up for the 20th time this year, all out of the Houston bullpen. He is what they call a situational lefty. An outstanding year a year ago. In fact, he was the only reliever that they had last year that did not get hurt throughout the course of the season. So he has found a home in Houston.
He throws a strike to Scott Pasednik, who doesn't want to be that guy. And that guy is the hitter that has the potential of making the first and the last out in the same inning. Scott has had a good night, however. A sac fly in the second inning, a single and a run scored in the first. But he began all of this with a strikeout. Then Jason Kendall flied out. And now 7 in a row have reached. So the Royals down but not out again. 2 outs, nobody on. And the Royals come up with 6.
Ryan, you maybe called it. When we went on camera the last half inning, you talked about all the come from behind ball games the Royals have had. Maybe had Houston right where they wanted him. Kind of raised my eyebrows at that time. I thought, well, I don't think 6-3 is right where you want him, but hey, maybe you were onto something.
This is just the way the Royals have been playing lately. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, you mentioned Burdick has a home now in Houston. He is from Illinois, but he went to Rice University, so he's familiar with the area. Played college ball with Jose Cruz Jr. Of course, his father is an icon in Houston.
Signed by Houston as a minor league free agent before the start of the 2008 season. In camp that year, he was released by Detroit.
Three balls, 2 strikes.
Remember when I was in the minor leagues, I was at the AAA level. Omaha, they'd run some older players through that had come from different organizations. And somebody told me, oh, if you get released, that's no big deal. I thought it was the end of the world if that happened. He said, oh, you're not ready to start your career until you've been released at least once, maybe twice. I don't remember who it was, but an interesting outlook.
It'll be a 7-run inning for the Royals.
This was kind of a seeing eye ground ball. The breaking ball from Burdick, chopped up the middle. Keppinger was playing Pasednik to pull a little bit, leaving the middle of the field open. Couldn't knock it down with the headlong dive. The Royals have scored 7 in the inning. If he knocks that down and keeps it in the infield, that saves a run.
Well, you talk about a career beginning after you're released. Tim Burdick's career appeared to be over, but in 2003 he went to the independent leagues, as so many guys have since those leagues started appearing back in 1993. I remember when he was with the Royals, he had some very good years at AAA, but when he was called up to the big leagues, just wasn't able to do here what he was able to do in Omaha. One ball, 1 strike to Jason Kendall, who made the 2nd out of this inning.
Now he doesn't want to be that guy, right?
No, you don't want to be that guy.
Because that last guy wasn't the guy.
Right. So Pasednik isn't the guy, but Kendall could be the guy, even though neither one of those guys wants to be that guy.
Got it.
Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Still 1-2 on Kendall. And with baseball players being as superstitious as they are, the Royals might make every night yellow t-shirt night after tonight. With 7 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning, beginning a very brief homestand. The yellow shirts have been good luck, at least so far. A little bit outside. Burdick was starting to walk off the mound towards the third base dugout. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The way this ball game is going, there's still a lot of baseball left. You think 10-6 will be the final?
No. 3-2. And if Kendall gets on, there will be no that guy in this inning.
The thing I see Burdette doing now that he did not do with the Royals is pitch effectively inside to the right-handed hitters. He was always to the arm side of the plate, away from the righties, to that side, and right-handed hitters tend to look out over, but he's come inside with a breaking ball and a fastball here in this inning. So he balances out a whole lot better now than he did when he was a Royal.
The inning comes to an end after the Royals send 11 to the plate. They score 7. Aspo drives in 1. Aviles drives in 2. Betancourt drives in 3. Soups, salads, sandwiches, and breakfast items at Panera Bread. And by Chevrolet. Come see for yourself why 1,000 people a day are switching to Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealer. Royals with a 7-run, bottom of the 5th inning. And if that isn't impressive enough, how about 7 runs after 2 outs and nobody on base? So Kaneko Teixeira has a chance to win it. He gives the Royals a couple of scoreless innings. And now Victor Marte on for the top of the 6th.
Marte's been a nice find for the ball club this year. Comes in for the 8th time in the season at AAA Omaha. There's been a lot of turnover in that Royals pen so far here in the first half.
Humberto Quintero will lead off. And you figure he feels awful right now. One of the key plays in the Royals' 7-run inning was a catcher's interference. Line to left field. Pasetnik diving. Makes the catch. Somersaults to his feet.
Ryan, this is a tough play to read because it's a line drive off the bat of Quintero. Pasetnik didn't get a great jump, but he did run a good route to the ball, and playing it off to the side, he's able to make the grab, take the tumble, and never jam his glove into the ground where that ball might get knocked loose. Athletic move by Pasetnik in left field.
You know, it's also a huge play, too, because the Royals just score 7. Important to get that first batter out in the next half inning rather than allow the Astros to get something going. And now a ground ball gets Tommy Manzella. So 2 up, 2 down against Marte in the 6th inning. Here's tonight's trivia question brought to you by AT&T. Who are the only 2 pitchers to win at least 10 games with both the Astros and the Royals?
I got one of them.
Now, you know how this works. We're not allowed to say who they are.
But I think independently that you were talking about the last half inning is going to be a big key.
Okay, it's a good one. All right. Ball 1 to Michael Bourne. Very good call split. Hit hard to right field. DeJesus sprinting back. He's there to make the catch. Marte with a 6-pitch 1-2-3 6th. KC contains more than 60 shops and restaurants. Crown Center is a modern mix of hotels, shopping, festivals, live theater, fountains, exhibits, winter ice skating, and one of the nation's tallest Christmas trees. Crown Center is also the world headquarters of Hallmark cards. Well, you can call it the 6th inning stretch as fans are standing up and singing along with Garth Brooks. Watching the Royals score 7 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning and completely turn this game around. The Royals were down by 3 going into the inning and now lead by 4. It'll be David DeJesus, Billy Butler, and Jose Guillen. And the former Royal Tim Burdick will stay in there. David 3 for 3 tonight. All singles, and he has scored a run. It was David's single that got the Royals going last inning. 2 outs, nobody on. DeJesus singled. Butler walked. Guillen on with catcher's interference. Callaspo singles. Avila singles. Meyer walks. Betancourt doubles. Posednik singles.
Now how about David adding 8 points to his batting average so far tonight? Isn't he getting a little late in the year to be doing that?
Yeah. He has added, if I've done my math correctly, 50 points, 5-0, to his batting average since David Jr. was born. That's pretty good incentive to have another one, isn't it?
Might want to talk to Mom about that.
Yeah. I mean, you got to play those percentages, don't you? Two and two.
How much has it moved up since they moved him to the number 3 spot in the batting order? About the same time. That was something that had not worked much early in his career.
Burdick has struck out the last 2 hitters. First man he faced was Posednik. He singled in a run. Now back-to-back strikeouts, and he will come out. Before we get to Billy Butler coming to the plate, we will answer tonight's AT&T trivia question. We're the only 2 pitchers to win at least 10 games with both the Royals and the Astros. Split's got one. Go ahead, Split.
Oh, Jose Lima.
Jose Lima
was a 20-game winner for these guys back in '99.
Do you have the other one?
I'm going to take a wild, crazy guess. I think I'm wrong. Chris Zachary, you probably don't even remember his name. He was an expansion draft guy. Played well for Houston. I don't think he won 10 games with us, but I can't think of anybody else. You got it?
I'm going to go with Jeff Fulcino.
Oh.
No. Oh. Floyd Bannister. I don't think Fulcino has won 10 with the Royals or the Astros. I just like saying his name.
Well, I'm probably going to see him in this series. They use him out of their pen a lot. Casey Daigle, the new guy in. Right-hander comes in for the 6th time this year. Another sinker bullet. Good slider and a good split finger pitch. He is their long reliever, so they feel they have a long way to go in this one.
Billy Butler drove in a run with a single in the 1st inning. He has also walked and scored 1 for 2 tonight. And that's drilled into left center field. Nobody there. So Billy, who had 51 doubles last year, has his 20th this year.
Well, so far when you think of Billy, you think doubles and you think left center and right center field line drives. And this gap is wide open. There's a fastball, as they like to say, middle. And he loves that. Starting to get hot. 3-game hitting streak with 9 hits during that time.
A strike to Jose Guillen. Not happy with the call. Jose 0 for 2, and he has reached on catcher's interference. With 2 outs, nobody on in the 5th, the Jesus singled. Butler walked, and then Guillen fouled a pitch into the screen. That would have made the count 1 ball, 2 strikes. But then catcher's interference was called, and the inning wasn't the same. Cayaspo followed with a single. That scored a run. Avilas driving in 2 with a single. Meyer walked. Betancourt with a 3-run double, and then Pasetnik driving in Betancourt. Rolls away from Quintero, and Billy Butler moving up to third base, showing off his wheels.
As quick as Quintero was getting on that last ball, he got away. I would have been anxious the whole time that he had thoughts of unloading, trying to get Billy anyhow. That's a big 90 feet. Now just a fly ball would get that run home. They've got the infield pulled in halfway.
And swung on and missed, and now Billy blazing down from third, and the Royals lead 11-6. Back-to-back wild pitches.
Hard to tell whether this is a slider or the split finger pitch, but it is absolutely buried.
No chance.
Played it just right.
Yeah. Astros didn't even try split. Still 2-2 on Guillen.
Forget my double. Did you see my base running? I mean, I got a lot of doubles.
Jason Kendall saying, you know how long I've been in the big leagues? You know how many times I've seen a guy score from third on a wild pitch?
Billy said, wait a minute, you're the guy. You're that guy. Now, Billy will tell you he doesn't talk a lot during the game, but away from the game, somebody's on him all the time. Yeah, I did it.
I also went to third on a wild pitch. Did you see that one? Shallow right. And Hunter Pence takes care of Jose Guillen. So Billy with 2 hits. He's been on base 3 times. He has driven in 1. He has scored twice. Oh, we hope you'll make your plans right now to come out to Kauffman Stadium on Friday, June the 25th. That's the next homestand. The Cardinals are in town. And after the Friday game at 7:10, we'll have another new and improved Fireworks Friday presented by Pepsi and Hy-Vee. That's June the 25th at 7:10. Go to Royals.com or call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets. Alberto Callaspo flied out in his first 2 at-bats. That made him 0 for his last 9, but then singled in a run and scored in the 5th inning. Royals 7-run 5th inning, and now they've added 1 in the 6th. And another base hit from Callaspo. And he's going to turn this one into a double. Alberto has his 18th. So this is what the Royals were hoping for, giving him Sunday off and Monday off. He has 2 hits tonight.
Ryan, you take a look at all the base hits and all the runs scored here so far tonight. Both teams have been very efficient. Both of them have but 4 men left on base. So all the people that have been out there, they've been cleaned up pretty well. Not only hit this ball in the corner, but just powdered by Hunter Pence, the right fielder.
So Casey Daigle has given up a run in 2/3 of an inning and 2 doubles. Mike Aviles has 2 hits, 2 runs driven in, and he has scored twice. me take that back. Mike has a 3-hit game tonight. Don't want to take away his infield single in the 4th inning. So 3 for 3, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs. And the Royals with 11 runs on 14 hits. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He's added 16 points to his average tonight, but he hadn't been here all year. So it's a little easier for him to do that than it is for De Jesus.
And a 4-hit game for Aviles. Royals will get 2 in the bottom of the 6th inning. And they have scored 12 tonight.
There he is again, flying open, but covering the outside corner. With his approach, he invites you to pitch him away. So Houston is. That's a breaking ball out there. He's able to go get it. It's elevated a bit so he can get it in the air and over the infield. He picks up an RBI, his 3rd of the night. The Royals have an even dozen on the board here this evening.
Fifth time in Avila's career he's had a 4-hit game. That's a career high. And that's another hitter who got the game off on Sunday, hoping to get things going again tonight. And now Mitch Meyer. He has walked twice and doubled. That's ripped to right field, and it drops in front of Pence. 4 hits in the inning for the Royals, 2 runs home, and Meyer working on a perfect night. Royals have 6 hitters that have more than 1 hit tonight. And Yost is saying it can't be this easy, is it?
Making it look easy right now, getting some good pitches to handle. That fastball is in the middle of the plate, and Meyer acts like he had hit against this guy before, even though he had not.
And now Yuniesky Betancourt. He had the biggest hit in the Royals' 7-run 5th inning. It's a 3-run double that turned a 3-run inning into a 6-run inning, which eventually became a 7-run inning. And Brad Mills, with Felipe Paulino up against the ropes, allowed him to stay in there to face Betancourt. And Paulino made just 1 pitch, left it out over the plate, and Betancourt made the Astros pay for that decision. And now a chance to drive in Aviles at second base. Off the end of the bat. And Hunter Pence will run it down to end the inning. The Royals add 2 and now lead by 6. with 14 hits, now 16 hits, and 6 players with at least 2 hits tonight. So Betancourt, after driving in 4 in game 1 with the Reds this weekend, has driven in 3 tonight in game 1 with the Astros. He's going to get a ground ball from Keppinger and throws him out. Jeff Keppinger is 0 for 3. And the Royals trying to hand Kaneko Teixeira his first major league victory. He picked up for Kyle Davies with 2 scoreless innings, getting 3 outs in the 4th in relief of Kyle, and a scoreless 5th. And now Victor Marte working on his 2nd inning, and will pitch to Lance Berkman. Berkman 1 for 3, doubled and scored in the Astros' biggest inning. They had a 5-run 4th.
Marte, an important guy for the Royals right now, trying to get this as late as he can into the ballgame. He's in a good situation right now because he has a manager who really believes in him. Ned Yost really likes the way Marte's stuff plays out. 3 pitches that he can throw for strikes. Can stretch him out a little bit in a ball game like this. He's also resilient where he can bounce back, go back-to-back days, maybe 3 out of 4. And a big part of that is the fact that your boss does believe in you. Ned Yost, when he came in, he said, I assume guys can do the job until they show me they can't. Whereas some guys come in and say, well, you're going to have to prove to me that you can do this. I think Marte is a guy that's really capitalized on the opportunity, some faith by his manager.
You can put Kyle Farnsworth in that category as well. I mean, his role has completely changed under Ned Yost.
I really thought Farnsworth was making improvement middle part of last year when it did not show up anywhere. McClure had been working with him on movement on the fastball, controlled breaking ball that he could throw for strikes. Now it's all starting to come together here in 2010. But I really thought he was making progress a year ago. And still getting pounded.
And when I think about a year ago, remember Farnsworth in Houston had that groin injury and went down to his knees, and one of those injuries it looked like he's not going to come back from this one, perhaps. You know, torn groin, something.
He was out over a month, wasn't he?
Yeah. 1-0 to Carlos Lee. He was in the middle of that 5-run 4th for Houston with a single. Came around to score. And a big bounce. Easy play for Betancourt. So another scoreless inning for Marte. He has retired all 6. To look at tonight's Haynes comfort moment. And how about Blake Wood in 15 games? He was called up just a little over a month ago on May the 12th. And in 15 games, a 3.52 ERA. But what you don't see with those numbers is the role that was handed to him. Never pitched in the big leagues before, and basically came up to be the setup man for Joaquin Soria.
Didn't want to make the move at the time, but the bullpen had kind of blown up early in the year, so they wanted him to stay in AAA, get a full year or most of this year at that level. But he has not disappointed since his call up. Wesley Wright now into the ballgame for Houston, your fourth pitcher of the night.
Sednick grounds out to Manzella. So Scott 2 for 4. Driven in 2 runs tonight. And now Panera will take us around the major leagues, where the Yankees and CC Sabathia beat Roy Halladay. How about that pitching matchup? Sabathia and Halladay.
Yankees got on Halladay early in that ball game.
Kendall into right field. Well, Jason is 0 for 5 tonight. He is the only Royal who has not scored a run. White Sox over the Pirates. That's the next team the Royals are chasing. Tampa Bay trying to stay tied with the Yankees in the East.
Got out of Cincinnati just in time.
We had quite a few rumbles when we were there, Split.
And nice and muggy for you right there on the Ohio River, wasn't it?
Man. It rained before the games and after the games, but the Royals lucked out. There was no rain during the games. Well, the last time Scott Podsednik and Jason Kendall were retired in order to begin an inning, the Royals then scored 7. That was back in the 5th inning. And it began with a David DeJesus single on a 1-2 pitch against Felipe Paulino. Pulled to Berkman. He'll retreat for the big hop right to the bag. And the Royals are down quickly in the 7th inning. Network, the first in the United States, available now in Kansas City. The 4G network download speeds 10 times that of existing 3G networks. And that was the topic of tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. Which former Royal had 4G speed? 42% going with Willie Wilson. And I'm sure that's the last time that Brian McRae wants me to campaign for him. He first checked in after our first portion of precincts turned in their ballots at 3%. I went out and campaigned for him, and he finishes with 3%.
That vote might have been about artificial turf, though. So BMAC would have been on the turf. So was Bo. Yeah, Gathright would have been the only guy on the natural surface.
Well, I watched Willie and Bo and BMAC from a distance. You saw them all up close and personal. I did see Joey Gathright in person. And he might have been the fastest guy that I saw at this level. I think of someone who was faster at the time.
Joey was interesting. I didn't think his speed really played out on the baseball field like the speed that he had. Does that make sense? I mean, the stolen bases, weren't there. The speed in the outfield, the jump wasn't there all the time. You would think with everything that he had going with his legs, he'd be able to run the gaps as well as any of those other guys on that list. And I'd put him a distant fourth as far as defense in the outfield and what he did on the bases.
You know, and I remember learning about that when I was a kid, because when I was really starting to get into the game, Ricky Henderson was stealing all of his bases. Tim Raines in the National League was stealing all of his bases. And I was shocked when someone told me Ricky Henderson was not the fastest guy in the game. So he's probably not one of the 10 fastest guys in the game. And I thought, you know, as a little kid, I mean, how is that possible? The guy's stealing 100 bases a year. Well, that's when I started to learn about, you know, sheer speed versus baseball speed.
He was explosive. Full speed in about 2 steps. You could almost feel the ground shake when he got his jump. I mean, he stole a few of them off me, and you could almost feel it. The explosiveness that he had at the start.
Victor Marte has retired all 7 he has faced. 2 balls and 1 strike on Pedro Feliz. He has driven in 2 tonight.
Royals would like to have a nice, quiet finish to this ball game here tonight. Don't want Houston thinking they're any part of this the rest of the evening.
2-2. Got an ugly swing out of him.
Well, that's that off-speed pitch right there. Marte can mix in. That's why you can stretch him out a little bit farther in the ball game. They can't just sit fastball or a hard breaking ball. You throw that split finger pitch. It's like a changeup. It has some movement to it. You can leave him out there a while. Dayton Moore has been talking about one of the things he wanted to do was improve the depth in the organization over the last few campaigns. Part of it was the pitching, that you could have some people you could go to in the minor leagues if things went awry up at this level. Royals now appear to have some of that depth that he's been looking for.
It's quite an amazing story, too. Marte was with the Royals Dominican Academy in 2000 and 2001, and then was not in organized baseball for 4 years, 02 through 05, and then put his career back together in Japan, pitching for Hiroshima. That was for 3 seasons, 06, 07, 08, and then signed with the Royals last year, pitched at AA, AAA, and then 8 games with the Royals. Now, in the Dominican Republic, there is plenty of baseball to be played, so it's not like he wasn't pitching at all, but not with a major league organization for 4 years. If you can't find a baseball game in the Dominican Republic, that's your fault.
Yeah, you're not trying very hard.
Aspo gets a nice waist-high hop and throws out Feliz. So 8 straight retired by Marte.
Once again, the bullpen picking up the starting rotation. These guys have been almost spotless since they got in the ball game in the Houston 4th inning.
In the last 4 games, including tonight, going through the Cincinnati series, the Royals bullpen has now pitched 16 2/3 innings and allowed 1 earned run. Look out. Oh, man. That thing rattling around there like a pinball, and it's a good thing it hit that barrier wall, because I don't care who you are, there is no time to react on a line drive like that. One ball, 1 strike on Jason Michaels, 1 for 3. Single, drove in a run and scored in the Astros' 5-run 4th inning. The Astros had a 6-3 lead at the end of 3.5, but the Royals scored 7 in the 5th and 2 in the 6th. And now Victor Marte trying to get Michaels, and that would be 3 perfect innings for him after 2 scoreless innings from Teixeira. Kyle Davies knocked out after 3 innings. He gave up all 6 Houston runs. Two balls, 2 strikes.
Jason Michaels is a designated hitter for Houston tonight, but he's an ideal National League player because he is capable of playing all 3 outfield positions. So you figure, get late in the ball game, all those switches that they make, you could start him in 1 outfield position, put him in center. Not many guys can play center field as well as the corner outfield positions. Plus, he has experience as a DH for games here in interleague play. Remember, we saw him with Cleveland. You mentioned that early in the ball game. He was a platoon guy in left field for them at that time.
Deep to left field. Posednik all the way back to the wall. And Jason Michaels belts his 3rd home run of the year. So the Astros get a run against the Royals bullpen. Royals still lead by 5. A 12-7 game. And that's the only home run tonight, and it's a solo home run.
Well, you mentioned Houston last in the National League in home runs hit so far this year. That ball just a little bit on the inner half of the middle. Michael's pretty good at getting that ball in the air and deep into the air. How about 1 bounce off the Hall of Fame building?
414 feet to left field. Robinson Tejeda just starting to play catch. We'll probably see him in the 9th inning. And Marte comes right back and throws a couple of strikes. So it's not a high pressure situation, but still, it's always nice to see a pitcher come back after giving up a home run and get back into the strike zone again.
Well, especially after you're stretching him out a little bit.
And off the end of the bat, Quintero flicks it into center field for a 2-out single.
Well, you're operating the bottom of the batting order right now, so you want to close it out right here. Quintero, more of a catch and throw type guy behind the plate rather than an offensive player, but that's a tough pitch to handle. He went down and got it. Didn't hit it hard, but hit it effectively into center field.
And now the rookie shortstop Tommy Manzella, with perhaps his last opportunity to extend his hitting streak. The Royals will give Quintero second base.
A couple of your favorites right there, Ryan.
Jeff Fulcino.
Jamie Quirk, bullpen coach. Head down, kind of getting beat up tonight.
There's really no creative way to say Jamie's name, though. You know,
Jaime, that's about all you can do with it.
Boy, he and Duke Wathen were getting all over each other during batting practice. Great friends for a long time, each accusing the other of still stealing money by being in a major league uniform. 1-2 on Manzella.
Duke doesn't have a closet full of them like Jamie does, though. I mean, Duke with the Red Sox for a while. He's with Dayton Moore tonight. And Duke telling me he's headed out to Burlington, our Class A team, tomorrow. Check them out for 5 or 6 days. He normally does that when the Royals leave town, but the schedule didn't work out this time like that.
A couple of catchers that were good athletes and played other positions, right? Could Jamie run like Duke could?
No. He ran like a catcher.
Yeah, but he was going to go to Notre Dame and be a quarterback, wasn't he?
They were going to have a good front line in front of him. He was going to be a pocket guy.
Drop back offense, huh? That's quite a decision to make. Do you want to go play professional baseball because you've just been drafted in the first round by an organization that was playing very well at the time? Or do you want to go to Notre Dame and play quarterback?
He was a shortstop at the time he was drafted. They made the move that first season for him.
Billy gets a nice easy hop. Marte gives up a home run, but 3 excellent innings for him. Royals won the first 2 games in Boston, and the Red Sox came back and they won the final 2. Jose Guillen 0 for 3, but reached on catcher's interference in the 5th inning, and that was a big play because the Royals had not scored a run yet when Guillen reached, and they went on to score 7. If catcher's interference was not called, the count was 1-2 on Guillen with runners at first and second and 2 down. One ball, 2 strikes. So Jose's last chance, we hope, to extend his hitting streak, which now stands at 9. Bob Davis also had a funny little way. Yeah, I just bring up his name and you start laughing.
Pretty much, yeah.
But BD would always say, he's not a half Chino. He's a full Chino. There it is, a 10-game hitting streak for Jose Guillen. Butler will stop at second base, and now the Royals have 18 hits.
That at bat not as big as the one that Jose had in that 5th inning. They had the catcher's interference. He was able to get on base, turn on that low fastball and rifle it into left field. So not as cheapy to extend his hit streak to 10.
And a 2-hit game for Alberto Callaspo. And that's blooped into left center field. So 3 hits for Callaspo. This is going to drive in a run. His second. The Royals lead 13-7. They have 19 hits.
Ryan, 29 hits in the ballgame, but still only 11 base runners stranded by both teams. Now, normally on a night like this, one team might strand 11 with all the base hits thrown out there tonight.
Here's tonight's Miller Lite Taste Greatness moment. Mike Aviles has 4 hits.
Well, he got going the first inning, a base hit to left field. Infield single his second time up. Base hit to left right there, drives in 2. And a base hit to right field his last time up. Picked up another RBI. So 4 base hits, 3 runs driven in. Aviles up here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And now Willie Bloomquist is going to run for Guillen at third base, so be alive for a squeeze.
Trying to get somebody hurt.
Mike Aviles has never had a 5-hit game in the big leagues. 5 4-hit games. One ball, 1 strike. Royals getting 10 of their runs off of Felipe Paulino, who was really on a roll. His ERA was 1.75 in his 5 prior starts. 1.75. So that's quite an accomplishment for the Royals tonight to get 10 off of him. They scored 2 off of Casey Daigle and now 1 off of Fulcino in the bottom of the 8th.
You know, Ryan, he'd gone 8 innings in each of his last 3 outings, and you wonder, okay, does that wear and tear kind of wear him down for tonight's ball game, because it couldn't have been tonight like he had been recently.
To Berkman, they'll go down to second for 1. No double play. RBI for Aviles, his 4th. So Bloomquist comes in as a pinch runner and he scores. And the Royals have a 14-7 lead. And that's
14.
why, that's why very few runners left on base. $14 runs is a new season high for the Royals. Twice they had scored 12. We told you about that Boston game on May the 28th. And the Royals also scored 12 at Texas on May the 6th, but that was a loss. It was the game where the Royals nearly came back and won after being down 8-0. And by the way, on that topic, I was told that it was 31 years ago today that the Royals came back from a 9-run deficit at Milwaukee to beat the Brewers, and that is the biggest come-from-behind win in Royals history.
And you love to bring that one up.
No, I wasn't. I'm going to leave it right there. If you want to expand on that, you go right ahead.
That was a great comeback for the boys.
Yep. And now Meyer takes a 4-pitch walk.
You mentioned that Texas ball game. I think that was a road trip, but the Royals had great luck scoring with 2 outs and hitting with men on the scoring position with 2 outs. Then came home and didn't do anything at all. Really had a hard time with the bats and couldn't get the clutch base hit. But I remember that road trip really did well. Then there was the Milwaukee game.
31 years ago. I've heard the story several times that the Royals were down by a big deficit, so Whitey Herzog told many of the starters just go back to the hotel, just rest up for the next day.
And go ahead and take the starting pitcher with you. He can't help us anymore, can't hurt us anymore. Get him out of here.
You know, you're being pretty hard on that starting pitcher. And then the guys were waiting in the lobby when the bus pulled up. It wasn't on TV. Nobody was listening on the radio. And the guys came off the bus and said, "We won." No way.
Well, if John Wathen and Steve McGrory and Marty Patton came in and said we came from 150 runs down to win this, are you going to believe it? Now, would you believe him?
He's a little suspicious looking, isn't he?
Yeah.
A nice shirt, though. Yuniesky Betancourt, in a 14-run game, has the biggest hit for the Royals so far tonight. Down on strikes here, but in the Royals' 7-run 5th inning, this is our Chevrolet play of the game.
Loves to hit early in the count, especially with men on base in scoring position. Here's first ball hitting there, got a fastball to his liking, drilled it off the left field wall. Avila scored, Meyer scored, cleared the bases. The Royals haven't looked back since.
Sednick through the legs of Keppinger and out into right center field, and the Royals will score their 15th run. That is the 3rd error tonight for the Astros.
Doesn't get much more routine than this. Couple steps to your right, played it between his feet, just didn't keep the tailgate down long enough. Vilas in from second.
Now we need to get Jason Kendall a knock here. The rest of the Royals lineup has been running around the bases having a ball all night. With 15 runs, 19 hits, Jason is 0 for 5.
And the way Ned Yost plays it a lot, I'm a little bit surprised he's hitting. But other nights like this is be Brian Pena. Hard to find playing time for Pena, so good time to get him into a game. Maybe because he is hitless, Skipper still has him in there.
Just missed with the breaking ball. Posednik 2 hits. DeJesus 3. Butler 3. Guillen 1. Callaspo 3. Avilas 4. Meyer 2. And Betancourt 1. One ball, 2 strikes. Gets it past Berkman. And Kendall in his 6th at bat gets a hit, and the Royals tie a season high with 20. And for the second time tonight, the Royals will send at least 9 to the plate.
Went with the pitch. It's a fastball about belt high to the outer half of the plate. Stayed on top of it and hit it low and hard the opposite way. Berkman feels his position pretty well to his glove side. He'll make that play a lot of times, but the ball hit hard enough to get it by him. Now everybody has joined the hit parade.
So the Royals have already set a season high for runs scored, another base hit, and they'll do it with hits. When the Royals came to bat in the bottom of the 4th inning, they were down 6-3. They just watched the Astros score 5 and got into the Royals bullpen in the top of the 4th inning. But since then, the Royals have outscored the Astros 12-1.
And now you don't want to repeat of Boston, because for the next 2 days there was nothing there.
Two and one. David started the 7-run rally in the 5th inning. There were 2 outs and nobody on. The Royals scored 7. Jesus starting all of that with a single into the left field corner, and foul. 2-2. Center field, but Hunter Pence runs it down. Royals had 3 in the bottom of the 8th and lead by 8. Royals lead 15-7, new season high for run score. They have tied a season high with 20 hits, and coming back again after being down 6-3 at the end of 4 innings. Royals got 2 scoreless innings from Kaneko Teixeira. Victor Marte gave up 1 run in 3 innings, and now Robinson Tejeda.
Tejeda's last ball game was the Friday night game in Cincinnati. Okay, they went 1 inning in that one. A walk and a strikeout, no hits or runs allowed.
Michael Bourne, after the first pitch, 1 away. Bourne 1 for 4. You go back to the beginning of the Reds series, the Royals took 2 out of 3 from Cincinnati. And include tonight, the Royals have 50 hits in their last 4 games. And they're about to go 3-1 over that stretch. Royals 3-3 on the last trip against a couple of first place teams, losing 2 out of 3 at Minnesota, the first place team in the American League Central, and then taking 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati from the first place team in the National League Central. You know, you talk so often about a good bullpen being one that can hold the lead in a close game. Well, the Royals bullpen has been outstanding over the past 4 games, and in 3 of the 4 it's been bailing out a starter that's had to come out very early. Right now the Royals bullpen has given up 2 earned runs in the last 17 in the 3rd innings.
Hard to keep that up. Have to get the starters turned around to give the game some order, if you will. Don't want to put that much pressure on the guys behind you.
Line to right. Keppinger with his first hit.
Ryan, you talk about all the base hits over the last 4 ball games. The batting average really has not been a problem all year. The Royals have been in the top 4 or 5 all season long in the American League. 3rd in the American League in batting average coming into play tonight. Runs scored, they've been right in the middle of the league, ranking 7th or 8th. 8th coming into play here tonight. That, I think at this point you'd have to say the offense has been a pleasant surprise.
Well, Kevin Seitzer has said that in his first year, and this is not just for him, but any new coach, in the first year, you're establishing relationships, you're establishing trust, you're explaining to the hitters what your philosophy is, how you think you can help them. And then really, it's the 2nd year when the work starts to begin. And the hitters then begin to trust Kevin Seitzer. They see where he's coming from. They understand the approach that he's trying to teach these guys. And the Royals made some strides last year on offense, but a huge leap forward this year.
Kevin didn't have that luxury his first time around with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Lasted about half of the first year, so he never got to that point.
Arizona, by the way, 13th in the National League in batting average, but they can score runs. They're 4th in the league in runs scored. Aviles calls off Butler.
Talking to Kevin, I think one of the biggest hurdles he's had to get over was guys putting up big numbers in Arizona in camp. Now when you come north, the weather's bad, all of a sudden things are not falling in like they did in spring training. And you have to believe in the system and the approach and all the things that you have been taught, and to have the strength to stay with it. Guys maybe didn't do that all that well last year, doing a lot better job of it this year. And maybe that does come back to the faith in the guy who's putting you out there every day.
So one pinch hitter, Sullivan, to another pinch hitter, Blum. And look out. Well, the Royals end the game with a collision. And luckily both are still standing. So the Royals take game 1 over the Astros 15-7. A new season high for runs scored. And they tie a season high with 20 hits. And now the Royals 2 games above 500 on Ned Yost's watch. And another come-from-behind victory.
Ryan, when you look at your scorebook and you see this ball game after 3 innings, and the Royals on top 3-1, it looks like Paulino was